Likkutei Torah, Parshas Beha'alotcha, page 58. Beha'alotcha Saneda is when you kindle the Meneda. Al-Mupni HaMeneda Yiru Shiva Sanedas. Facing the Meneda will be illuminated 7 candles. Vine in your Meneda, the whole concept of the Meneda, Menema B'Schai, the Navi's Chai, it says, but each even a Meneda Zahav. I see that there's a gold Meneda, what is this all about? This is the word of Hashem to the Zuvavel, and so on. Peter Ishkin, Inyan Meneda, what is the level of the Meneda? Bechinas Dvar Hashem, the word of Hashem, Shumak and Neshamas Yisrael. The word of Hashem is what created Neshamas. Like it says, V'ata nefachta bi, Hashem blew into me, and the Yidden are called B'Shem Zerubbabel. Okay, Zerubbabel was a Navi, but the Jews are called Zerubbabel. Why? Because it says, Zerati li ba'aretz. Now, Zerubbabel is really 2 words. Zera Bavel, the planting in Bavel. So he said that refers to the neshamas. That Hashem says about the neshamas, I'm going to plant them in the ground. And therefore, the Jews at that time, when this nevuah was said, when the Jews were in Golus of Bavel after the destruction of the first Beis Hamikdash, therefore, Gamanasi Nikra Zerubbabel Shem Zeh. Okay, therefore the head of the Jews was called Zerubbabel because Zerubbabel, the Jews were planted in Bavel. That's the whole inyan of the Meneda, the way the Jews are planted in Golus. What does it mean? The neshama of a Jew, Shlomo Melech likens to a candle. Like it says, Ner Hashem Nishma Sodom. The candle of Hashem is the neshama of a person. Like we know, anytime it deals with neshama, Shiva, Yartzeit, you always light candles. Why do you light candles? Because Shlomo Melech says, Ner Hashem Nishma Sodom. The candle of Hashem is the neshama of a Jew. So therefore, if every Jew is a candle, so all Jews together is called a Meneda. Obviously. Yes, but Bechina Zayinadis in the Meneda had 7 candles, Shem Zayim Adregas Bavedas Hashem, which represents the 7 levels of Jews. If the Meneda, the Ned, is the Neshama, why were there 7 branches on the Meneda, not 6, 4, 5, 10, 20? I mean, what's the Cheshbon 7? So it says because there's 7 ways of serving Hashem. In the 7 meters. Yes, some people serve Hashem with love, some people serve Ava Kirish Beyesh, and then there's through Torah, which is the middle one, and then there's Nitzochen, that they conquer, victorious over the Yetzirah, the Shusterman of Asitei, and V'yesha Yidei Haidaya, which is Haid, the level of submission, V'chein Yesha Yidei Isnasus, and there's a level of Isnasus, which is the level of Malchus. In other words, now the Rabbi is explaining why are there 7 branches on the Meneda, because there are actually 7 different ways, 7 different types of Jews that serve Hashem in different ways. Some with love, some with fear, some with this type of love, that type of love, some with, okay. Commandment as Alba Misha say Perik Yudalit, they call Yisrael b'nei Malachim Heim, it says all Jews are kings, certain people elevated themselves through, serving Hashem. And yes, they shiftless. And some people serve Hashem with humility. Some people are very broad, like Jewish leaders. They're malchus, they serve Hashem by, controlling. And they serve Hashem, others serve Hashem with humility. So you have the 7 types of Jews that are represented in the 7 branches of the Meneda. Now, who lights the Meneda? Who kindles this Meneda? Adon is the one that kindles this Meneda. Why? Because he was one of the 7 shepherds. that bring down life and godliness. There are 7 royim, 7 shepherds, like the 7 ushpizin and sukkis. They are the 7 neshamis, the leaders that bring down elukus into neshamis. They are the ones that stimulate the person to love Hashem more, to have a strong love of Hashem. Which is this burning fire, which is burning. In the depth of a Jew. Okay? So you have the concept of Aaron HaKohen igniting, illuminating, and elevating the life of the Jew. So he says, V'yuv and Behegdem will understand. Now the question is, why is Aaron the one that does it, not Moshe, not Avraham, Yitzchak? So he said, V'yuv and Behegdem. We'll understand this by first understanding the difference, the Yus and Malis Bechinas Aaron, and Malis Madregas Avraham Avinu all of a shalom. What is the advantage of Aaron HaKohen over Avraham Avinu that's also called Avraham Oyavi? Okay? We know Aaron, Oyev Shalom, Reidev Shalom, Aaron was Ava. So what's the difference between him and Avraham Avinu was also Ava? So like what's the difference? Ki bi Avraham Avinu Oyev Shalom, Oyev Eimer. Holech when it's say Anegba, by Avraham Avinu, the Pasuk says, he constantly kept going, Holech when it's say, he kept constantly traveling to the south. Peter, what does it mean? Shaholach mi madrega le madrega. Avraham Avinu went from level to level, mi madrega le madrega, until he came to the level of Negba, which is Avas Hashem, the Dovka be'betveka v'chasheka v'tzimoin. Okay? In other words, like this: if you face east, so then south is on the right. Face east. Okay, south is that way, north is this way. So Halach when the Seah Negba is the level of Ava. Shubachines Ava Hashem L'Davka Be'Bedveika V'Chsheka V'Tzimoy. What was the Aved of Avraham Avinu? Constantly elevating himself from one level to another level to a higher level in Avas Hashem. Well, therefore they established to say Baruch Shamar Tchila. First, before Pesukah de Zimna, we say Baruch Sha'amar. And then the Pesukah is the Zimna. And then you come to Madrega, so Ava B'Krishma. Okay? So he says, what's davening? Davening is a constant travel to go from one level to the next level until you come to the ultimate, to come to love of Hashem. And he says, and the mitzvah of V'yohavta, he says, it's not a commandment on the hidden love of the Jew. This love, you know, it's like this. When the Torah says you should love Hashem, it doesn't mean the hidden love, because that's there. If the commandment's to have a hidden love of Hashem, what do you mean? We have it. You got it. So what's the mitzvah v'yahavta? V'yahavta comes from the word ava, desire, wanting, which is the rotzin, the fisharotzin, upnimis amidus. The life of a midah is really the will. If I have a willpower for something, that stimulates my love or fear or power or victory or glory or submission or whatever it may be.
We have it, but the challenge is we bring it out.
That's what he's saying. 1 second. Will, it dictates, leads and dictates the midas of a person. Even something which is very pleasurable, let's say. If a guy decides he's in a rotten mood and he doesn't like it, normally it's something that the guy himself loves, it's something that people love. But all of a sudden he removes his will from it, he's in a bad mood, whatever. And you don't get pleasure from it. The same thing on the opposite. If somebody has something which is painful, and he wants it, then he doesn't feel the pain so much because he wants it. Okay? The rotzen is actually, see where this parentheses ends. Whoa, no. It ends 5 lines. Okay. So he says, what is Ava? Ava means the want that Hashem should be you. The Ava, the Ahavta, as Hashem Elokecha, like we learned in the other rhyme. That the level of Avaya, Yudke Vavke, the supernatural level of God, should be Elokecha, that should be your nature. What should a person want? One thing, godliness and nothing else. That's what the pasuk is commanding us, the Ahavta, meaning a person should transform his will and his desires of worldly things, the Avas Hashem, to love Hashem, that there should be no other will but Hashem. I don't want with you, I want you yourself. And therefore, how does a person come to this level of Ahavta? Let's explain this as follows. Generally speaking, the Maggid asks a famous question. There's a mitzvah in the Torah of the Ahavta Hashem Elokecha. There's a mitzvah to love God. There's a mitzvah to love another Jew. There's a mitzvah to fear Hashem. Okay? The question is, I can command you on an action. I can't command you on a feeling. I can tell you eat something, you hate it, you despise it. I can tell you eat it anyway. And it's possible that you can listen. Or you really love something, I can tell you don't eat it. But a feeling, I can't tell you love this. I don't love it. What do you want me to press an on button? I mean, love is a feeling in the heart. How is it possible? How is it possible that Hashem can command? This is a famous question of the Maggid, the Mizrach Maggid. How can Hashem command us to love something or to fear something? I don't love it. What do you want me to do? To lie and say I love it? I don't. No, I can eat it anyway. I can do it anyway, but I can't love it. So the Maggid says a phenomenal concept. The mitzvah is not that you should love. The mitzvah is to do those things that will bring you to love. For instance, and this is what he's saying now. Before the Ahavta Hashem Elokecha, the pasuk says, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Meditate into the greatness of Hashem. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. There's nothing but Hashem. In that meditation, the Maggid says the Ahavta doesn't mean you should love. The Ahavta means you will love. In other words, the mitzvah is not the actual love. The mitzvah is the Rabbi using the expression over here, v'yahavta, from the word of a wanting. It's to do that thing, which is the meditation, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Or even earlier, Psukkah de Zimra, Berachas Krishma, the meditation about the greatness of Hashem. So that the mitzvah is to meditate. Then the pasuk says, v'yahavta, you will love Hashem, because you will want only Hashem. So he says like this. No, you will. The Maggid said v'yahavta in Lashon Kodesh doesn't only mean a mitzvah. V'yahavta in Lashon Kodesh means you will love him. But he says, what does love mean? Is what he's saying. What is it? Ava, that you want it. Something you love, you want. Not only that, anything contrary to the thing you love, you hate. Because love and hate, they're not necessarily opposites. But generally speaking, superficially, love and hate are opposites. So the more I love A, the more I'm going to hate B. The less I love A, the less I'm going to hate B. Because they're contradictory. Godliness and pleasures of world are opposite. The more I love Hashem, that's what the Rebbe says in Tanya about Tzadik Gomor, Tzadik Sheina Gomor. The more, why is it Tzadik V'Ralei that didn't transform the Yetzer Hara? Why is he called Tzadik Sheina Gomor, incomplete Tzadik? Because his love to Hashem is not complete. Because if he would love Hashem completely, he would transform the Yetzer Hara.
But you can unlove something. Not
You can unlove something. That's what the Rebbe says over here, the word Rotzin. Rotzin can make you love something and not love something. I'll give you an example. In a physical sense. You don't find it so much today because the world changed. But years ago, there are people that they loved meat and didn't like fish. People loved meat and they didn't like fish. Then, for whatever reason, they got sick, chas v'sholem, and then the doctor said you have to eat fish. So they knew they want to eat fish because of their health, right? They started eating fish. They ended up liking it so much they would never go back to meat. Now what happened over there? What happened? You had to press button for love of fish and hate of fish? It didn't work like that. Your Rotzin, like Dr. Rebbe says, Rotzin is the premise of the Midas. What makes you love or fear or glorify or victory? The 7 Midas, right? The premise of it all is Rotzin. Because what you want is what's going to dictate the Midah. We see that clearly. What I want dictates my love to it and fear of it and awe of it and respect of it and so on.
So in the case of the Hafta, it's the Ratzon of the...
That's what the Rebbe said. V'aftem loshen ava, which is the Ratzon, is pnimis of the Midas. And that's what he's saying now after the parentheses. The mitzvah, because how do you get the... How do you get this will to only want Hashem? So he says, Shema Yisrael Shem Elokeinu, meaning Lisbain and Hatev, to meditate deeply. Velosim aliban, to put on your heart, meaning to feel it. That Hashem is the only thing that exists. Even in the spiritual realms of time and space. Because now is there physical time and space, there's spiritual time and place. Bria already begins the world of time and place. Like it says, and yet all the worlds are becoming bound to Hashem and one with Hashem because they're completely bottled. Everything compared to Hashem is non-existent because higher than world, meaning and higher than limitation, Shamayim va'aretz, okay, higher than it says like this. We know there's Echad and Yachid. What's the difference in Hebrew Lashon Kodesh between Echad and Yachid? Echad automatically is 1. If there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5. Like you say, Hayom Yom Echad, or Vayev Vayibayka Yom Echad. It was evening at the beginning of Chumash, right? As we get night, it was day Yom Echad. 1 means there's much more, and it's one of many. Yachid means it's the only one. It's singular. So l'chayra, when can you say Echad? Echad means Aleph Ches Daled, like we learned. It says in Shulchan Aruch, when you say Echad, you're supposed to, the Ches is 8, which is 7 heavens and earth, and Daled is the 4 corners of the world, and Aleph is Hashem, that the 7 heavens and earth and 4 corners of the world means Maila and Mata, heavens and earth, and the 4 corners of the world are all subservient to the Aleph. That can only exist in a place where there is 7 heavens and earth and 4 corners. In a level higher than world, where there is no higher and lower, there is no time and place, you can't say the word Echad. Then you have to use the word Yachid. Because if nothing else exists, then the word is Yachid.
We never do.
What?
But we never do. We only say Hashem, Shema Yisrael, Hashem, Echad.
And yet in davening you say twice, Yachid Chei Ha'olamim Melech. In Yishtabach you say Melech Yachid Chei Ha'olamim.
But when you say Echad, that means there is a Shemish, Rishi, Revi,
Correct. That's what he's saying over here. What is the... So, there's a famous question, everybody... It should say, Shema Yisrael Shem Ken Shem Yachid. Echad means there's one, but then maybe there's many more. So, what does Chassidus explains later already? But Chassidus explains in one sentence that Hashem wants to tell us a greater thing. That there's nothing but Hashem, so there's no competition. If you live in a neighborhood that has only one store, and you say the store is doing well, it doesn't mean the store is a good store. There's no choice. What is the uniqueness of a store? It's a number of stores in the neighborhood, and this store is number one. 1 second. That's a greater accomplishment in a certain respect than to say it's the only store. Yachid means there is no world. So there's no competition. Echad means there's heaven, heavens and earth, and there's talent, and there's competition, and yet Echad. Okay, we continue.